My first contract was for Catholic services. I live in Ohio. I'm a school teacher and I'm also not Catholic. He's in California. I'm in Ohio. When he goes to work, I get paid. Then I won a landscaping contract in Washington. I spent 5 months winning 2 contracts and making 6 figures. I'm submitting a proposal every single day. It's just me. There's this thing called like voicemail. It's crazy. It's like you actually say something on the phone and they call you back.
Today, we have the one and only Dr. Wes Fisher here. So excited to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. This is awesome.
Yes, this is terrific. And one thing I love to ask people is, of all of the things, how did you come across government contracting and what made you really lean into government contracting? Because I've never really met anyone who's like, oh, I grew up and in 1st grade, I said, I want to be a government contractor.
Nobody does. I don't think anyone does. Not at all. Yeah. It might be a boring story. I was a school teacher, right? I taught special ed for 8 years and I was a school teacher. Yeah. So I love what I did. I love my students. I love what I did in the field, but I realized after 8 years, and at that time I just had my master's degree, I was making $50K a year. I'm like, okay, this is cool, but this is not like the life I really want. And I heard about this thing called retire, rehire. I'm like, what the heck is that? It's like people retire and then they get rehired by the school system because they can't live on what they retired on. I said, okay, that's not for me. That's not for me. But just like everyone else, I mean, long story short, I tried a bunch of entrepreneur stuff. I looked at affiliate marketing, network marketing, looked at Airbnb. I looked at everything and I dabbled in a lot of different things. It really wasn't until I came across government contracting through Jason White on a YouTube video. And I was like, that's my skill set. I have the skill set for that. I want to do that thing. Met him, I did a seminar. The rest is history, really.
And write down, what does that skill set mean? So, you're a teacher, you have that epiphany, like, no, I'm not going to retire and then go back and work again. So what are those skill sets?
That's a great question. I skipped over. I was flipping pallets, like a 4840 wooden pallet. So I was school teaching. I bought a course. I bought a truck and I was out there picking up wooden pallets. Nothing against my pallet flippers out there. Nothing against y'all. But I was making good money. I actually made a good 6 figures my first year doing it. Was just me and my truck. And again, I'm not the pallet flipping, but yeah, you're like, what? Yeah, and pallet flipping is crazy because you get these pallets for free from companies. Long story short, it was awesome, but I realized 2 things. One, it gets cold here in Ohio, so that sucked. I didn't want to be out there flipping pallets in the cold. And then number 2, when me and my wife would travel, we go to Vegas, we go to Mexico, we go to Dubai or whatever it is, my truck's not moving and I'm not making money. So I realized that first of all, I need to make money when I'm not there. And then once I found government contracting, I was like, okay, copy and paste. Got that. I can do that. Okay, send the email. Okay, yeah, I think I can handle that. Adobe. Yeah, I'm pretty good at, it was just a simple skill sets on the computer from the comfort of your home.
Right.
I said, okay, I can handle that. I can handle that. Those fit my skill sets.
Oh, and I love that. And so what were the first contract or contracts that you went after? What was it? You're like, pallet life's over, in the comfort of my home. What did you start bidding on?
Yeah, I tell people all the time. So I learned the middleman strategy, right? And I focused solely on the middleman strategy. So my first contract is the funniest one because people are like, what? How did you do that? My first contract was for Catholic services in the federal prison in California. Mind you, I live in Ohio. I'm a school teacher and I'm also not Catholic. People say, well, how did you win a 5-year contract to do that? It's the same simple process I teach. I found the opportunity. I called a bunch of Catholic churches. I told them I needed Catholic priests to do Catholic services. Long story short, they told me to call the Catholic diocese. I called the diocese. They say call the prison ministry. There's a prison ministry? Duh. I called a prison ministry. They say Chaplain Richard does the prison across the street. He loved to do that prison. I said, what's his number? I call him up. He tells me $25 an hour. I tell the government $30 an hour. I submit the proposal. I win the contract. That's it. And here's the thing is, I tell people that story and people laugh. They're like, oh man, that's so awesome. How much money do you make? I make $5 an hour, right? He works a couple hours a month. So I didn't make bank. I wasn't like, oh my God, I'm rich now. I'm a millionaire. No, I didn't. But when I won that first contract, I said, whoa, wait a minute. Ding, ding, ding. He's in California. I'm in Ohio. When he goes to work, I get paid. I said, game over. game over. Like I said, if I could do it on that scale, what if I did it on a larger scale? And my next contract was for $450,000 for HVAC cleaning and for the Bureau of Reclamation in Las Vegas. It's like 10, 15 buildings a year that we HVAC clean. I had it for like 3 years now. I've never been there. I've never touched it, but it's a $450,000 contract. So that was like the next one, and I just kept going from there.
And I love that because we have a lot of religious opportunities. So we have people doing religious in Hawaii and other places. And it's like, I always share with people, it's so overlooked. And the ticket is what you're getting after, which is having people do the work for you, whether it's HVAC, it's religious. So then what came from there? Because you've already mentioned the religious services, then HVAC.
Yep.
What other things do you bid on?
People love my story because none of them have anything to do with each other. So HVAC, then I won a landscaping contract in Washington. Recently, I won a chimney cleaning contract at the Grand Canyon in Arizona. At the Grand Canyon, you're like, wait, there's chimneys at the Grand Canyon? Yeah, I know. I clean 77 of them a year. I know exactly where they are. There are chimneys at the Grand Canyon. There are houses where people live there, and I have a government contract that we do those every year. So chimney cleaning, dry cleaning contracts. I like to tell people this one. I won a contract to build an aquarium for turtles in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's fun. But here's my thing I tell people all the time. It's like, well, let's see, what should I target? What's my niche? And again, nothing wrong with niches, nothing wrong with targeting. You 100%, there's different ways, as you know, there's different ways to do government contracting. You know, you could be a prime doing the physical work. That's all good. You could be a prime subbing an hour. You can even be a consultant. There's multiple ways of doing it. I was just like, I want to be a middleman. So like, I don't know anything about how to build an aquarium for turtles, but I called a company in Cincinnati. Hey, do you build aquariums? Yeah, we do. Great. How much do they cost? And I placed the order. You know, that was it. So that's kind of how I did it. And now I just, again, I don't have a niche that I pick. I just kind of go after everything. Right now we're in 2024 and I know I shouldn't date stuff, but I'm submitting a proposal every single day.
So what are some proposals that you have been submitting? What are some things, if you don't mind sharing?
I mean, it's as broad as I just said. I mean, forklift rentals, you know, batteries, flashlights, you know, landscaping, snow removal. Just, again, people ask me, which one do you like the most? I always tell people this, the way I kind of teach it is I don't fall in love with an opportunity. You know, I'm not like, oh my goodness, I have to do HVAC. Like I've won multiple HVAC contracts. Right. I've won one in Pittsburgh. I won one in Las Vegas. I've won one in the Grand Canyon. So I have a couple HVAC contracts, but that doesn't mean I wake up and go, oh, where's HVAC? You know, I don't, because it just doesn't follow my model that I teach. But yeah, that's just kind of what I'm doing. When
it comes to these opportunities, do you have a team member who's managing? Is your wife involved in the business? Do you manage? How do you handle the day-to-day?
I love that. I love that. The thing I always teach my students is that I don't have any employees for my government contracting business. I don't. I still don't. To this day. It's just me. I'm the one bidding proposals, running it, billing, everything. Yeah, my wife, no, she's not a business-minded person, so she has no interest in it. The way I kind of do the model is it's just myself. So I know there's different ways to outsource and, get some people on your team and have some, people doing different things. I haven't went down that route yet. Not yet.
No, but that's common. Many people are bidding, they're managing, they're project managing, contract management, and doing all of those things. By continuing this, what happens when you get to 200 of these a month that you're managing? Then what would you do?
I'm glad you asked that question. I'm going to tell you. And again, I don't know, this might be controversial. So we'll see. I don't bid to win.
Okay.
I bid to make money. And that's what I teach. I bid to make money. I don't bid
so let's see, you say you win, you have 200 that you win and they're all making money. Then what's the plan?
Here's the thing is I don't want to win 200.
You don't want 200. You're like, I don't want that.
I don't want 200. Exactly. Like, you're right. Scaling is great. I don't want 200 though. Like my way I look at it, if I submit 365, I win 10% of those. I win 36 contracts. I don't want that. That's too many. I'd rather win like 5%. So the way I kind of price it is pretty aggressively. I price pretty aggressively. There are ways obviously to do your market research and price, conservatively, but I price pretty aggressively to not win. But when I do win one, I make a good amount of money on it. So that's just the way I like to do it. Because like you said, I don't want to get to that point. Like my mentor now, Jonathan Howard, he's been doing government contracting for 25 years. It's still just him and his wife. He's never got to the point that he's wanted to build the brick and mortar and kind of really scale it up and get all the different employees and all that stuff. And again, some people want to do that. For me, it was like back when I was flipping pallets, it was a truck, my dog, and myself. And I made made 6 figures flipping pallets. I was like, you know what? I love that. No employees, no one that works for me. I just want to do that. And now government contracting, I've kind of built the same thing. It's just minus my dog. Well, I guess kind of my dog. He's still here. Like, he's still with us, you know, but it's just not in my day to day.
No, I think that's great. I think it's great because the beautiful thing about government contracting is you can have employees, you don't have to have employees. There's so many different business models that you can build. When it comes to this, you know, what are your thoughts about the political part? Because a lot of people don't talk about the political part of government contracting. So if there's a change in the administration, will that impact your business model at all? I mean, were you in government contracting just during the Biden administration or through other presidential administrations?
I've only been doing government contracting for 3 years. So not through multiple administrations. But I will tell you my mindset on that. When people talked about that government shutdown recently, right? Was that last year or whatever? Oh, the government shut it down. I got so many comments and posts and people were, oh, government shutting down. What are we going to do? Like, what if the government shuts down? How does that apply to your contract? You know what? And I was kind of quiet on the topic. I didn't post any content because my point of view was like it's a business model, right? You either submit or you don't submit. You either win or you don't win. Like, just do the process. Like, I had people who were messaging me for maybe 5 months straight. Well, I don't know if the government shuts down. What if the government shuts down? And then when the government didn't shut down, I recorded a video. I'm like, guys, like, you spent 5 months worrying about a government shutdown. Right. I spent 5 months winning 2 contracts and making 6 figures. Which one's worth your time? You know what I'm saying? So I can care less who's in office. I can care less about political things. I can care less. I respect what's going on in the world, but I can care less about how that applies to my business when you focus on just things that you can't control. I can't control who's in office. I can't control the different things that are going around this world, unfortunately. I wish I could, but I can't control that. But what I can control is submitting a proposal and focus on what's in front of me. So I don't pay attention to that political stuff.
The being able to focus on what you can control is great. So if somebody decides they want to vote or not, you know, that's up to them. Yeah. And, you know, to be able to bid every day, 'cause some people watch you may be like, oh my gosh, I can only bid maybe once every 2 months. What does it take for those watching to be able to bid, let's say, 4 a month? What are just the basic fundamentals? What are those basics of you're able to bid just 4 a month? What are those things that people need?
I think four is not enough. In my opinion, if you're doing the middleman strategy, I think you're not even in a race if you're not submitting 15 to 20 a month. But, you know, if you wanted to submit 4, like, from my point of view, it still comes down to the same 3 steps, right? Step 1, find the opportunity on Sam.Gov. Step 2, find the subcontractor who you can partner with. Step 3, submit a proposal. Those are the only 3 steps. So now you can decide how fast you want to go through them. You can spend 2 weeks looking up an opportunity, right? Right. Or you could just go to Sam.Gov and pull one up right now, right? Or you could spend, 2 weeks calling subs and trying to get quotes and see who you can partner with. Or you can just be laser focused and really build relationships with people so you have people to go to. First of all, now, again, you wouldn't have that from day one, but once you have relationships, you just kind of go straight to people and then submit a proposal. I think that's the biggest thing. I'm sure you see, people think, oh my goodness, I need a template, I need a website, I need all these things first before I can submit, because I just don't know how to submit. And I'm just like, you don't know how to put your name on the form? You put your name, your cage code, your UEI, you put your phone number, you put your email address on there, and you sign it. Well, no, what does the template look like? I need a template. I need to see. Just tell the government how much you're charging. Tell them your technical, your past performance. Give the government what they ask you for. Okay, so you can give the government what they're asking for 4 times a month, or you could do it 1 time a day. The choice is yours. Right.
No, the choice is definitely up to the person. There are those out there who one of their biggest struggles is finding a subcontractor, which I always find interesting, because if we're dating somebody or we're curious about our spouse, we have no problem looking them up on Instagram and Facebook and getting information. So what are some tips, some strategies for those who are like, I've called 20 people, or somebody took a contract for me? What are those things that you found every time that you're bidding on forklift or batteries or what may have you? You're like, this always works for me to find that best sub.
We giving away the sauce today. All right. I got you. The biggest piece of sauce I can give you guys right now is Facebook Marketplace. Facebook Marketplace has changed. Honestly, I tell my students all the time, go to Facebook Marketplace, type in landscaping LA or landscaping, wherever the contract is. Let's just say the contract's in California. Landscapers, Facebook Marketplace, LA. You're going to get, tons and tons of results in Facebook Marketplace where people actually, when I mean by Facebook Marketplace, just to clarify, where you see people selling lawnmowers, that's Facebook Marketplace. Where you see people selling stuff, that's the marketplace. You also see people in there that put $1 or $0 because they're a service provider. They just want someone to find them. Guess what? And that's what I love about people. Like, I try to teach people, you could be at work on your phone and just going, hey, do you provide, commercial landscaping service? Hey, do you provide commercial landscaping service? And because it's Facebook Marketplace, they actually message you back same day. I've gotten so many quotes the same day by just having a conversation. I'm talking on my computer, but you could be on your phone just doing Facebook Messenger. And people say, well, I can't get a quote. Have you sent a message to someone on Facebook?
I love that. That's such a good, and it seems much safer than Craigslist or Angie's List or what may have you that's out there. So I love that. That's a great nugget. And, also kind of digging deeper into that, because another kind of pain point that pops up is, well, how am I going to fund this? How am I going to buy the batteries? Who's paying for this HVAC? Who's handling the chimney cleaning? And what have you found in your experience that works for you and works for your students as far as funding? So
the first thing I always tell people is to start, and again, I don't want people to take it the wrong way, but I do tell people to start with services first. Like, you don't want to hop in and do a $1 million product contract. So you got to buy $1 million in iPads for, the government, and you got to call up Apple. Hey, Apple, can you send $1 million for iPads and I'll just pay you in 30 days? Apple's probably going to say no, right? So I mean, you can negotiate that 30, but they're probably going to say no. So I tell people, like, you might want to start with a service first, because at least with a service, you got this thing called net 30, which means that they do the work first, then they send you a bill, and now you have 30 days to pay them so you can invoice the government. So that's kind of that's the foundation I gave people. But now, again, some people watching this, maybe you got 40K in business credit available. Maybe you got 80K sitting over here that you're just like, man, I fixed my credit up. Now what do I do with it? Well, government contract, it could be a good place to put that credit at, to put it to use. But if you don't have it, then you can focus on services, or you can try to get net 30 accounts or try to get things of that nature. But just to be upfront, I tell people all the time to be aggressive in pricing. Like, let's say you're getting flashlights, and let's say the government wants to buy 100,000 flashlights, and you can get them for $1 a piece. Let's just hypothetically, okay, that's $100,000. You don't got $100,000 laid around. Well, let's just say you charge the government $200,000. Okay, so now you're going to make $100,000 profit. My question to everyone watching this, if you're going to make $100,000 in 30 days, would you figure it out?
Yeah.
Would you eat right? You said yes. Like, figure it out. Like, okay, if the money's there, the government money's there, you put enough money on top to make money. Okay, so now go figure it out. We got different, resources, but it's like, if you're not resourceful, what does it matter?
No, I love that. I love that, because I find that to be one of the #1 skill sets in government contracting is you have to be resourceful.
Yes.
What are some things that you're like, man, I wish people would stop doing this in government contracting? Is there anything you've come across where you're like, please stop doing this?
Yeah, stop being lazy, especially in the middleman concept. You can't just grab entire solicitation and send it to a company and say, hey, give me a quote, give me everything you need, and you just do everything. And then, like, first of all, that's not even legal. That's not legal. But second of all, it's like, just don't be lazy. Like, I tell people all the time, like, as a middleman, we're helping, blue collar workers, we're helping small mom and pop companies get government contracts. So we need to help them. Like, if they say, Wesley, I cut grass, but I don't know how to fill out this stuff, I don't know how to do these different things, you kind of got to spoon feed your subs and let them know, okay, well, I just need you to focus on a quote for this, and then I need you to focus on this piece, and now this piece. And that's called not being lazy. But some people out there, I might call a sub and they're like, oh yeah, I got that email from someone, and it says 80 pages, right? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I think we're not interested. It's like, yeah, because someone sent you an 80-page document. If someone sent you an 80-page document, would you read it? No. I'd be like, I'm not interested. Like, yeah, I would have no interest. So just, people, please stop being lazy and doing the lazy. Like, actually take it step by step and actually help people.
Yeah, I love that, because you don't have to send them 80 pages. You can, send what you need to send. What are some other things that you wish people would stop doing?
The obvious one is stop going it alone and not investing in a mentor. We got the legend over here, Miss Dr. Parks on the line. Like, if you guys are watching this, like, stop beating your head against the wall and struggling when you got someone like Dr. Parks right here who can help you and actually get you results faster. Like, I tell people all the time, I've invested in my education. I've invested, and you as well. You've probably said it before. I've invested hundreds and thousands of dollars on education, but it's made me millions and millions and millions. So then people go, well, I'm just going to go do it for free. Sam.gov is free. I'm just gonna go do it for free. Okay, nothing against it. The website is free, but it's like, or you can go faster and invest in a mentor.
I mean, just through this video alone, by you sharing Facebook Marketplace,
yes.
Hopefully people see, hey, you know, this is the real deal. And that's the value of working with someone, because you have all your strategies. I have my strategy. We all have different strategies, but what's key is that investing in yourself. Because if you don't invest in yourself, how can you even have the confidence to ask the government for $200,000 for a price quote on flashlights? You're going to freak out and think, oh, I can't charge that much. And they're 50 cents at the Dollar Tree. And it's like, I get it, because I've been there. I used to be the type that I would not charge appropriately and do things like that. But I agree with you. And I have a lot of mentors too. And you got to have a good mentor and have lots of mentors.
Lots of
mentors
in your life. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What are some more things that you wish people would do? Or like students of yours or people, or even things you're doing where you're like, yes, this is exactly what you should do.
Back down to me again, submitting every day. It's for me personally, I feel like it's a numbers game. I think so many people get bogged down into like, the page 4, line 6, I'm not sure how to answer that question. And it's just like, and I get it. People are afraid. It's the government. You don't want to, mess things up. I get it. But I really just think that people just took the time to just like submit the proposal. Again, there's so many people that reached out to me. They're like, Wesley, and I'm sure it's the same as you. I've had my case code for 6 years. I've had my case code for 10 years. I've even had someone say, I've had a case code for 20 years. I'm like, well, how many proposals have you submitted? None. They're like, what am I doing wrong? Well, first of all, you got to submit a proposal. Like, it's that simple. That's why I'm always talking about submit, because that's going to get things going. Even though you might submit it wrong, you might fill something out wrong, you might do something wrong. 9 times out of 10, the CO would tell you, hey, listen, you didn't give me this document, or hey, this is not filled out right, or hey, I need this. And maybe they don't give you that information, but at least you did something.
That is so key. I'm always like, bid. You got to put in something, because it's like you're trying to sell a pen, but if nobody knows you have the pen, then how can they buy it? So you have to submit however you choose to do so, federal, state, whatever floats your boat, right? But you got to submit. I think that's key. And what's also nice is not every agency, but some agencies are really nice, and they may have you revise what you submitted. They're cool with you making corrections. Some of them may not be, but you don't have to be perfect.
Exactly. Yeah, some people, like you said, some people won't give you that way to revise it, but that's okay. That's why you go submit another one tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, look at it.
Yes. Are there any areas that you're like, oh my gosh, I don't bid on that? Any kind of work that you're just like, no, I don't want a piece of that?
Oh, for sure. I always say, for me personally, I don't know if you teach it. That'd be cool. If you do, you need to teach me. But seriously, I don't do real estate. I haven't did any. Are you doing real estate?
I haven't done any. I'm aware of it. I know of some people that have done some things, but I feel like with real estate, you have to have a piece of property they want or bid on the property management side.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. So I had no experience in real estate. I tried a few and it didn't work out. And I'm like, okay, I tell people, just don't start there. Like, you can work your way up there and get there at some point, but just don't start with real estate. And then the next one I always tell people is large scale construction. Like, what happens in construction? Things go over budget, right? That's just how construction works. So you got large scale buildings that are millions and millions of dollars, and that's going to be your first contract. I don't know. I just would be nervous. I just tell people, like, if it's a multi-million-dollar deal and that's your first one, I wouldn't do it for your first one. Maybe down the road, maybe get some experience in managing teams and managing subs and managing different billing services and, requesting government to pay you up front in different proportions, things like that. But you're not going to know that from day one. So to go win a contract for $5 million building, nah, I wouldn't do it.
All right. And you have to have the bonding. And
yeah, and there's the bonding. Yeah, there's the bonding. That's the main thing too. You got to go get the bonds. You got to pay for the bonds. You got to, it's a lot of moving parts with construction. Like my little turtle tank in Cincinnati, Ohio. I know what's so funny? That contract I won for $36,000. That's how much that aquarium, like a normal size aquarium, costs, for $36,000. But here's a kicker. I paid $38,000 for the aquarium. I lost $2,000 on that. And I tell people all the time, first the government said they changed the wood. They wanted this very expensive wood. I was like, whoa. We can do the wood, but that wasn't in the scope of work. The government's like, well, yeah, but that's the wood we want. I'm like, well, that wood costs like $15,000 by itself. So they changed the wood, they changed it. It doesn't matter. But the point is, I tell people that story that I lost $2,000. Now, again, I put it on credit cards and always is good. But I lost $2,000 on that $36,000 aquarium. Now, multiply that by a multi-million-dollar contract that you underestimate a couple zeros here and there. And now you're like, you're owing your sub, you know, $300,000, $380,000. Like that's not happening. So that's why I just say large scale construction. If you don't know what you're doing, again, you might have some great construction contracts. I don't know, but if you don't know what you're doing, I wouldn't start. No, not for you.
No, I don't do construction. We do a lot of staffing and professional services and IT. I love staffing different positions, and we're waiting to hear back about Oasis Plus, which we'll hear back in December. So excited about that. That's good advice because we've all been there. Even big companies, they've done it too, where you underbid or the agency changes the scope. And some watching this, you may think, well, why couldn't he have just gone back? Well, it doesn't exactly work like that. It doesn't work like that. There are times when, yes, they may work with you. And there are times where they're going to be like, no, this is just what it is. And if you don't want the contract, let us know because we'll give it to the other person. You know, there's usually other companies who bid. So what are some kind of opportunities that you're like, man, I'm like, you want more of, or you're interested in? I know you mentioned a little bit of staffing, but are there other areas that you're like, man, I would love, you know, want some sheep shearing contracts? I don't know.
Did you hear me talk about that one?
I was talking about sheep shearing too. I thought that was awesome.
I saw that it was posted. You saw that recently?
Yes. I think
I saw it too.
Great opportunity.
Yes. I've been telling people that on TikTok. I was like, sheep shearing? I was like, yes. Like, that's exactly what I would love the middleman. Like, I know people are like, that sounds weird. Like, what's weird about it? I call some farm or somewhere do you share sheep? Yeah, we do. How much you charge per sheep? Okay, great. Let's work together. You know, like, but I mean, there's no niche. There's no particular nothing. I know my one friend was telling me about call centers. I heard a lot of good thing about call centers, like big money in call centers. I haven't been on one yet. I'm kind of looking to find them and see. I don't really see that many. Maybe I'm not looking in the right place. I heard good things about call centers, but outside of like that, like I really don't like. I can tell you, I want to keep myself really small. I don't need like these huge things. So if I came across a contract that I make, you know, 5, 10K a month on, that's cool. If I come across a contract that I make a good one-time 30K profit on, like, you know, I tell my students now, it's like, it's all about profit, obviously. You know, what's your take home? Like, people win these $1 million contracts or $450,000 contracts. I'm like, well, what's your profit? Well, we're actually making like, you know, 10K. Like, okay, that's great. You make some money, but it's like, don't pitch the, oh, I won $450,000 contract, but your profit is like not there. So my whole thing is, that's why I say I'm pricing aggressively. I want to price aggressively. I want to win contracts, very few, but I want to make good money on them. That's the whole point. Right?
Which I like that. To your point, because you're submitting every day, it only takes a couple, and then they're on to the races. So I think that's really good. You know, I had a mentor many years ago. She had a call center contract and hated it.
Really? Oh, this,
it was very hard.
The management side of it?
It was hard to staff it. It was in like a rural community, and this is what she had shared. I have no idea about the contract, but she said it was very challenging to staff. I don't think she renewed it, or I'm not really sure, but she didn't care for it. I have come across every now and again, there's a call center contract, but there's just so many. What are some of the most unusual? So we talk about sheep shearing, you know, contracts where you're like, I can't even believe they're buying this.
I tell people like all the time, my first one was Catholic services. People like, wait, you're not Catholic. How does that work? I'm like, well, you don't have to be Catholic. So I think that's always paints a picture for people. But last year I saw one that was for picking up roadkill, like roadkill on the highway. And I was just like, I wanted to work it too. I was like, yeah, I want to get that one. I was like, but I couldn't find it. So I was like, how do you find, because usually like cities do that, but how do you find like a company that picks up roadkill? And I couldn't find one. I actually didn't end up getting it. But it's like, I know like who gets excited about roadkill? No one does. But I mean, like, I thought it was cool. I was like, if I got a contract, it was down in like Alabama somewhere, and every time, you know, animal unfortunately meets its demise, like I get paid. Like, that sounds cool. Like, unfortunately, like, you don't want bad things to happen. Like, I got a friend like Coach Jay. He won a contract either last year or 2 years ago. It was for, I forgot the exact title, but I think it was plane crash removal, or it was like, yeah, literally the contract is like, unfortunately, if a plane was to crash and skid off the runway and crash, that company will come in and remove the plane. plane. And he's like, I pray I never need to bill for that. But that was a contract that he actually won. Like, he put a proposal in, he found a company, he put a bunch of money on top of it. And he was like, man, if it happens, it's going to be a payday, but it's not going to be a good payday. But that's his example of like, just like, there's this weird stuff out there. Like, the government buys everything you can think of, from sheep shearing to clean up roadkill to Catholic services to, enforcing, conflicts overseas and wars and stuff like that, and everything. There's government contracts for everything.
There truly is. And what are your thoughts on state and local? Is that something that is part of your daily bid pattern? Is it something you're going to roll in later? What are your thoughts on state and local?
Great question. For me, I only do federal. Long story short, like, nothing wrong with state, nothing wrong with local. I think that a lot of people come to me, they think, oh, should I do state? Oh, should I do local? Oh, should I do federal? I'm like, well, none of them are better than either one of them. Like, some people say state's easier, some people say federal. I don't care. I always just tell people, pick one and make a lot of money at that and then expand. So you're right. Eventually, I probably will expand to like state and local at some point. But right now, it's just federal, just one lane. That's it. Sometimes people come to me, they say, Wesley, can you teach me the state? I live in Oklahoma. How do I win, this contract with my local college? I'm like, you got the wrong one. You got to go call somebody else. Like, I'm not your guy, because it's like, I focus on one thing and that's it.
I think that's great, because there's a lot of similarities, but it's great to really hone in on one area and expand, or can dabble, but also see what works for you. There's so many different agencies. Do you have a favorite agency, or you're pretty open? You're like, it doesn't matter as long as they...
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I couldn't tell you a name of my favorite at all, because I don't. It doesn't. As long as the check's clear, I don't really care. Agency, I don't care.
I bleed little USDA, so USDA will always be my favorite. What about events? Like, are you the type, do you go to different outreach events? Is that something that's part of what you've done over the past 3+ years?
I'd be curious to hear what you do about that. I personally have not. Attended any events, and I always tell my students, like, I just haven't needed to. Like, I mean, yes, you can go build relationships with different, departments, and you can do that. But I feel like if you're like a prime that's going to actually physically do the work, that's like 100% what you should be doing. Like 100%, there's no reason why not to go to your local APACS meeting or go to your local event and like build those reports. No reason. And when I do, I just haven't needed to. What about you?
I think there's value there. There's definitely a lot of value. It's all about what somebody's goal is. What is their goal with their business? Exactly. Why are you attending the meeting? What's your objective with the meeting?
Exactly.
And so if it aligns, then by all means, because I walked away with a contract by attending an 8A meeting. I've walked away with a relationship with one of the biggest IT companies because of going to a meeting. I met my old mentor because of meetings. It all varies. But for those who are like, I got to win, I need to get a contract, don't go to meetings. Don't go. None. You should be bidding. You should be bidding.
Bid. Yeah.
Learning. You got to, do those things. So I think as long as people understand it's part of the sales cycle, but you're not going to go to an event and somebody's like, yes, I'm just going to give you this $20 million contract. Like, not going to happen.
It doesn't work that way. No. I just sit there handing out contracts. Who would like this contract? Come on in. You want this contract? That's good. No, I want to. I want to one day maybe attend some stuff. And like I said, once I figure out the goal of why I'm there, like, for sure. But I haven't yet. No.
Yeah. And there may more and more are in person again. And I don't really plan on going to anytime soon, but you never know if something changes. But the cool thing is there's a lot of events all over America. They're not all in DC. Have you found, because some people think, well, yeah, this is great, but don't you have to live near DC or been in the military or worked for the government? I mean, have you found that living in the Midwest has had any kind of negative impact on what you do?
Not at all. Not at all. I even tell people when I get started with my program, it's like, I was a school teacher, right? I was working a typical school teaching job. I was getting home at 3:30, 4 o'clock, really get settled at 5. And then like, you know what? It's after 5 now. Like, I'm like, who can I call? It's after 5. So what did I do? I called California. And that's how I won my first contract in California. And then my next contract was in Las Vegas. Then my next one was in Washington State, the state of Washington. And I'm like, well, I tell people that story because it's like, I had to do it at a necessity. I was like, well, I think I did. Now I learned there's this thing called like voicemail, right? It's crazy. It's like you actually say something on the phone and like it stays on their phone and they call you back. It's like the craziest invention. It took me like 3 years to figure it out. I know. I'm being serious.
Oh my God.
Voicemail.
I'm dying over crying here. I'm dying.
Leave a voicemail. Doesn't hold you back. It took me years to figure that out.
And the thing is, people will, because people are so used to not leaving voicemails or like being just really weird when you call. But like if you leave in voicemail and especially you're looking to do business, if somebody doesn't call you back, they clearly don't want to have a business.
Exactly. You're not in, they don't call you back. They're just not in business. They're not a good fit anyway. And I'm like, you call them business, leaving voicemail, they'll call you back. So I tell all my students that now. I'm like, okay, now I do call the East Coast. I won, 3 contracts in the state of Ohio where I live at. My closest contract is like an hour to have, south of me. I never physically been there, but it's like now, like later on, I started bidding in my home state, in my home area, but I didn't need to start there. So like when it comes to like DC and Washington and Maryland and all that, like, yeah, there's a bunch of contracts there, but it's like, what does it matter if you're working with a sub anyway? Your sub can be like one of my students had a contract in Puerto Rico. Actually, I think 2. One was for rice and one was for beans and for emergency relief. And he won those contracts, made some good money on them. And it's like, he doesn't live in Puerto Rico. Like he doesn't go to Puerto Rico. Like he lives in Pennsylvania. Like, so it's like, it doesn't matter where you live at.
Yeah, it doesn't matter at all. As long as you have good sub, you do what you need to do. That's what matters. You have to deliver. And on that note, how can people best get in contact with you? Because I know you're all over social media, but where do you want people to go? You have an amazing YouTube channel. Yeah. Where can people connect with you?
YouTube channel is just my name, Wes Fisher. They can look me up on YouTube. I know I'm really active. Like I said, I'm live right now to my TikTok community on TikTok. So Make Money with Wes is the TikTok hashtag or TikTok handle. They just type in Wes Fisher. You'll find me somewhere. Whatever platform you guys are searching.
I think that is tremendous. And you have a challenge that you offer, I think, every month.
Yep, the 5-day challenge. Yeah, you do a 5-day challenge as well, right?
I'm doing a new one coming up, but I have. Yeah, I got a lot of news. Figuring out some stuff.
I love it. I love the 5-day. Yeah, I've done 10 now. I've done 10 5-day challenges. Yeah, I've trained over a couple thousand people. They've been a lot. They've been really rewarding. So whenever someone watches the video, we have another one coming up. So just look up, my information, depending on when someone watches this, and there'll probably be one coming up, down the road.
And again, for people watching, it's just valuable for you to learn, apply, and adjust. That's all you got to do. Learn, apply, adjust. That's what you got to do. Whether it's a challenge, whether it's a video, whether it's being on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever, it is so vital because you have somebody over here who's winning these opportunities that people talk about and they say that you can win, and he's winning them. This isn't pie in the sky, and maybe you're tired of me, and you're like, whatever, Kizzy, we're over you. Hopefully you're not, Pearl. But, there's so many opportunities, and I think that's what's so cool about federal government contracting is all the things that you it on. I'm so grateful to you.
Hey, I'm grateful to you. I mean, seriously, and congrats to what you're doing. I've heard Miss Kissy Park's name so many times. Like, oh, Kissy Park, I've heard your name so many times. So, like, you're killing it. You're helping your students, succeed. So, congrats to what you're doing. Like, I love it. Our community is so great. Like, I tell people all the time, like Dr. Kwana, who you interviewed,
yes,
a good friend of mine. You and Jason White. Like, no one's bashing anyone. No one's like, oh, forget that coach, forget that. Like, everyone's just like, listen, this is the opportunity. You find someone who connects with you, who you rock with, and go, you know what? They said I need to get a mentor. I like Miss Kissy Parks. I connect with her. We got the right personality. I'm gonna rock with her, and she's gonna take me to the mountaintop. That's how this works. That's how life works.
And, as a business evolves, it's also important to look into the right kind of mentor, especially for those that may want a GSA schedule or contract vehicle, or they're really focused on exiting. There's coaches for all of those areas. So that's what's beautiful. It's not just how you go about finding a sub and winning contracts. There's somebody for everything, which is also really beautiful and speaks to the beauty of government contracting, because you can sell basically everything to the federal government.
The biggest buyer, supplier, whatever of the world. So,
well, I appreciate you again, and thank you so much for being here, and for all my amazing GovCon winners. Everything is possible. So until next time.